You're welcome to 15 minutes on book club. My name is GB. Yes, on book club, we summarize and we review great books. I always like to emphasize that. Either on personal development, on leadership, on it could also be Christian books or even fictions. Yes, we have a community of book lovers and book readers. And what we do basically is that on a daily basis in our community, we share summaries from these great books so that people can apply it into their daily work or into their life in general. Today I'm just going to share briefly on some of the books I've been reading lately. I don't know, for like a couple of weeks now, I don't know, I just stumbled across Mark Batterson's books. I don't know whether you have read his books before. In fact, I've been, I don't know even know how to express myself. I've just been, gulping everything I've been reading from his books. I've come across In the Pit with a Lion on a Snowy Day. I've come across Chase the Lion, which he wrote after In a Pit. Then I've also come across Circle Makers. And according to him, he said that Circle Maker is actually the first of his books to cross the 1 million copies sold mark. And I was just curious that what could be in this book that made people to really went all out to get the book. And when I found the book, I was like, wow, it's what I'm sure probably millions of copies would have been sold now. Let me just share briefly some of the things that I got in that book. Uh, he started by sharing a story. What motivated circle maker? What does circle maker means? And he started by sharing the story of what made him to write that book. I think when he was in Bible college or Bible school, they used to read all those Jewish books. You understand all those books that actually wrote some of the other experiences about from the things that we read in the Bible, maybe further experiences of the Jewish nation, the people, the prophet that came even after those that were written for us in the Bible. And then said that he came across the story of Oni, Honi. He said it was like a prophet, and then in the land, I think it was in Judah, he said that there was no rain, that the drought was so much that people were like, something has to be done, otherwise they are going to perish. They said there was this day, sunny day. It was like, everybody were like anticipating that God must intervene in their condition that day. And then they said this old man came out, and everybody knew that he's a godly man and that he prays. He said he came out, and then with his staff he drew a circle around himself. And then after he drew the circle around himself, he knelt down in the circle and then he prayed. He didn't just pray, he didn't pray a silent prayer, he prayed loud. And by the time he was drawing the circle, like a crowd have already gathered, what's going to happen? What is this old man trying to do? And then they said he prayed loud, so that he's not going to be the only one that heard it. He was praying to God, then all the other people too, the crowd that have gathered around him, they too, they heard. They said, oh Lord, this day I ask that you give us rain. And he said that, and I will not leave this circle until the rain drops. According to the book, according to Mark Batterson, he said that just as he finished the prayers, then drops began to come. And the people are like, rain that never fell for a long time. They said, he prayed again, he said, oh Lord, I'm not asking for raindrops, I'm asking for showers. He said before they knew it, the cloud everywhere became dark. I said there was a downpour. Every downpour that everywhere was like, He said after a while he prayed again, he said, oh Lord, I pray for showers of blessing. You understand? I said, and then the rain that the rain that was falling again now became, it was reduced, because the one that came the second time was like a flood, and everyone was getting muddy, flooded, and it was like this is going to even cause maybe like an havoc, a flood. He said when in now he said, Lord, what we asked for is a shower of blessing. He said everything reduced, the rain was coordinated, the flood was coordinated through a pathway, and everything was calmed. He said that day everybody were like, wow, Honi the rainmaker. Are you getting me? He said from that day, he said he had that mind that God answers prayers. Anytime we consecrate ourselves to pray to him, that God is ever willing to answer our prayers. He gave so many instances in that book. In fact, his own instance too. So when he got to Capitol Hill, where his ministry is based, he said there was a day at the early stage when the ministry had even just started, that nothing had happened. He said there was a day he felt the Holy Spirit compelling his heart to just walk around that vicinity. And then one morning he got up, and then he started the prayer walk around that vicinity, that Capitol Hill where his church is based now in Washington, D.C. He said he started taking a walk around. He said it took him 3 hours. He said his prayer walk was actually slower than his normal was, because he was praying around that circle. I said by the time he went around, he said he had spent 3 hours praying. He said, he said, now I would like to tell us that in 15 years after then, God had been answering all the prayers that he prayed during that prayer walk. He said through that prayer walk, he said there were properties he passed that have now become the church property, where people are now watching their services. They'll be able to get maybe centers in that circle. Then it looked like nothing. He said, but in 15 years, God had not stopped answering that prayer. They used the story of the children of Israel when God asked them to walk around Jericho too. He used it as an example. He said it was not just an ordinary walk. He said it was a prayer walk. They may not understand it at the initial stage, but he said it was a prayer walk. He said, and at the end of the 7th time, the 7th day, as God instructed him, he said we all knew what happened. The wall came flat down. The wall came down flat. And he was just what he was trying to say with the circle maker is that he said prayers, God answers prayers when we concentrate us. He also gave an example of this other woman. The husband, he said, was a missionary. He said, so the husband had gone on mission work, but he was giving her feedback that that people are not surrendering to Christ. He was having so many attacks, spiritual attacks, that like the devil had these people in bondage, that their heart is not open to the gospel. The woman, she now began to tell God. She shall now pray one day and told God, I said, Lord, I will start praying. I will be at my prayer stand 7 a.m. in the morning, and I'm going to pray to you concerning this mission work. I said, and I want to see answer. I will be, in fact, I told God, I said, I will be there before you, that I will even be the one that will say good morning to you. Very funny. God is ahead of us. He said that night the woman did not sleep. She crocheted all through the night, so she won't miss that appointment with God. And then she started keeping that appointment every 7 a.m. in the morning, praying for the advance, for that mission work to grow, that the heart of people will receive Christ, that they will be delivered from every oppression. He said after a while, the husband even called her and said, the place they have now is not even enough for them again, that they need a bigger place, that she should pray for a bigger place. You can imagine, from nothing to souls being won to Christ, and then them looking for bigger place to hold their fellowship. There is nothing God cannot do. Sincerely, when I heard that testimony of that woman, I started my own prayer circle too. And since I started, I will not lie to you, God has been answering all the requests that I put in that prayer circle. I started keeping an appointment with God too. And even from the first day that I started keeping that appointment, God too was faithful. In fact, the second or the third thing on my list, God answered it. He gave me signal that yes, that the third day again, I saw answers to another request that I put in that circle. You should try it out too. And more importantly, I want you to read that book. Find that book, Circle Maker by Mark Batterson, and you will be glad you read it. All right, let me just draw the curtain here. The next time I'll be coming across your way, remember that it takes just 15 minutes daily to learn what successful people do. I'll see you around. Bye-bye.